So I've just had a phone call off one of my regulars. I say regulars. He's based over in Leicester, so he's a bit of a jaunt away from me. So he uses a local garage for all his service and maintenance work. Anything that's more in depth, then I get the job. So I've got to now have a drive over to Coventry and collect what I believe is a 2018 or 2019 Transit Connect 1.5 that is currently a non-runner. So I'm in the truck and go and have a jolly out. Let's see what's wrong with this one. Right, so we have a 2018 1.5 TDCI Transit Connect. It has got a whopping 50,000 miles on the clock. 50,000 miles. I've just turned it over and it sounds like the timing belt or the cam chain in between the cams has decided to let go. If you can hear this. Lovely, lovely, lovely. For anyone that wants to know where the towing eye is located in a Transit Connect, it's behind that little panel in the back. Very handy little panel there. Looks like someone's already had the towing eye cover off the bumper. So I'm searching in the cab, looking everywhere for it. Because someone's already had the cover off, look. But hey ho, the cover's going to be lost. I absolutely love my remote system for my lorry. It's so much easier. It's like letting a robot do the job for you. Just wish you could press a button and it'd strap all the wheels down. Right, that's us strapped up. Let's hit the road and get her back. We're in position and we're going to have a look at this Pauly 1.5 Transit Connect. Now, from turning it over, I've got a feeling that the timing chain has snapped. So this runs on a cam belt from the crank fuel pump to one cam, and then inside there's a chain that drives the exhaust cam, the inlet cam to the exhaust. It's turning over. Normally when a belt breaks or a chain breaks, it just spins over with no compression whatsoever. But this has got some compression, but it just doesn't sound right. It's skipping a beat. So I think one cam's turning and some of the valves are operating as they should on one camshaft, and then the other camshaft is it's doing nothing. So I'm going to set the camera up now on the oil filler cap and I'm going to spin it over, and hopefully we'll see that there's a cam not turning, which means we're going to strip this thing down and fix it for the customer. So we're going to start by moving? We're going to start by removing some of the bits from the top before jacking it all up. So I'm going to get the header tank out, which is a bit low on coolant, so I'll have to investigate if there's any signs of leaking. This is going to have a new cam belt and water pump kit put on it as well. So we're going to start with, I'm going to remove injectors, spill off pipes, we'll pull the intake system off. There's going to be fuel lines, some wiring, vacuum pump for the brakes. Then we'll jack it up, engine mount off, get it timed up, take all the cam belt off, and then we can get the cams out and have a look inside at the damage. New camshaft kit for this comes with an uprated 8mm chain. I'm going to start with removing the air filter. So we can take the air filter box off. As easy as that. Right, We'll leave the base of the airbox in, that can stay in. What else have we got here? Breather pipe. These are a lot more fiddlier than the customs. I do like the customs. There's not much room to get into stuff. We've got two 8mm holding on the pipe to the turbo. So we'll take that off out the way. Need an extension for that one. Let's have a little check of the turbo for any play. It feels really good, as you'd expect for 50,000 miles. Now I have took on board comments from the 6-hour transit custom repair video. I'm going to have a look into a microphone. I mean, at the minute I'm recording these on my phone. Come on, don't break. Just taking the pipes off the header bottle. Yep, they're off. Yeah, recording this on my phone. So I'm going to look at possibly a different kind of recording device. At the moment, what I'm using for editing my videos, it's all on my phone, so it's just convenient for me to just do it all on my phone. Right, now I'm taking off the boost pipe. Oh, that's one boost pipe off. What we've got on here now, so we've got a 10mm and an 8mm. 10mm. 8mm. Going to come out of there. Right, okay, let's undo it from out. So we've got another 8mm. Should have left me extensione on there. And we have a little 8mm at the back. Yeah, beautiful. I'm hoping it hasn't got a head full of bent valves, to be honest, because I've got that much work to get on with. I could do without having to do that. Right, we've got some 8mm here on the rocker cover, so I might as well just whiz them out while we've got access to them. Right. They'll stay in the cover. Fuel lines, and then we've got a duplicative on the throttle body intake. That'll be 7. Nicely tucked away under there. Right, this is going to take me a little bit longer because I was in the process yesterday of recording for another video, and I sliced the top of my finger off. So at the minute I've got a fat finger, and it's bandaged up real good, and it's proving a bit awkward. Oh, she's tight. Right, what else we got down here? A couple of cable hooks. One. Come on, come on. And I'll just whack it into my finger. Out. 2. Oh, what we got there? Got a 10mm holding that pipe on. So, some do you. Oh, she's loose. 10mm. Oh. And this is why I've got a bad back leaning into engine bays. Right. Let's get you out of the way. Shed some light on the situation. Here we go. Let's unwrap this wiring from around here. And we've got another cable clip for the loom. There we go, she's off. Right, we're getting somewhere. We've got a cover here on the injector pipes. Out you come, out you come. There we go. I'm going to start with basically just what you can go for what you can see. So we'll go for injectors next. So we'll get these out. The injector harness out of the way. Tuck that there. Spill-offs. Let's try not to break these. Flick the little tabs up, like so. There we go, and then they should. There we go, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, spill-offs off. So next, we've got some more bolts hiding. There's another 8mm here. That's the little stud with the ball on the end that the engine cover clicks onto. 1 there. Ford, Peugeot, Citroën. A lot of vehicles share the same engines. There we go, look. There we go. Now we're at the injectors. So this is the camshaft for the exhaust that wasn't spinning. Inlet camshaft runs at the back and the chain is inside. You can see that little curvature there, look. That's where the chain runs inside here. Right, so injectors now to be removed. So we want a 17mm spanner. Crack the injectors off. Now we need an e-Torx socket. We are an E12. So we're now undoing the injector clamps that hold the injectors down. Right, are these going to be tight? Oh, that one's moving. A bit of leverage. Yeah, one. Pop, pop, pop. Two. Three. Ah, she's coming. Four. Beautiful. Right, where's my rag? That was my head on the bonnet. Right, injector number one. Number two. Number three. You can see the rust on the end of there. And if they get damp or water spills and gets underneath, and they corrode, especially steel and aluminium. Hence why 9 times out of 10 we have to use a puller, but usually on low mileage stuff they tend to play ball and come out. Right, I'm going to at this point undo a load of the bolts holding the cams on, purely because I can get to them, they're there. It's helped me a lot. So injector pipe 1, right, these pipes here on, right, injector pipe 4 rather. The 2 injector pipes on 2 and 3 actually cross over each other. So I guarantee when I put this back together, I'll end up spending 20 minutes trying to figure out which pipe was which and which way round they went. This rubber foam shielding is wedged down the back of the fuel rail, so we can't get this off until the fuel rail's off, and then we can't get the fuel rail off until we've got the pipes off. We can't get the pipes off until we've got the back of the throttle body. It's one thing leads to another. One thing that's in front of you can't get off till you've removed a million other things. So we will now take off the throttle body. So that's 8 mils. Straight in here. 1, 2, yeah, 2 of them come in from the back, so you have to be a contortionist. 1, 2. Right, yeah, so I've got 8 mil there. I'm gonna have to do this. Oh, the little sockets. Suck it to me, baby. Right, well, last time I did one of these, there's a little fuel setup here. I'm gonna pan the camera in and show it you. And I struggled to remove it, and then when I'd actually removed it, I could see an easier way, and I can't remember what that was. This section here, so that all needs removing, but it's hard pipe to the fuel pump, so you can't just unbolt it and pull it to a side. Now I've got to be careful how I position this camera, because my next beautiful project has arrived, or I've collected it rather, with my 8-hour round trip. And I'm really excited to get on with it, but I've got customer work that needs my attention before I can play with my own stuff. But my goal is eventually to be able to just do my own stuff, which is exactly what I set out to do years ago, which is exactly what I did years ago. Ended up doing one job for one person. He's like, oh, you did such and such's brakes. Can you do my brakes? Or can you do my clutch? And it just turned into a full-on customer experience, which is never what I intended. And I would love to go back to my roots and just buy and sell stuff I like buying. So we'll see where I can take this. Like I say, taking these bolts out at the minute won't enable us to get anything off, but it's stuff that's got to come off, so we might as well just take it off while we can get to it. Right, there for the intake. It's for the rocker box. Give you a nice little scuttle, because they know that you're going to end up stripping it at some point, so they give you a nice tray to put all your tools and bolts, don't they? Oh, another one. Okay, I'm going to take the brake vacuum pump off. 2 13mm bolts hold the brake vacuum pump to the side of the cam box, and they're on studs. So 2 bolts with studs on the end, 2 13mm nuts, and that bracket there comes straight off. So we took that out of the way. If it'll tuck, you will tuck. Thank you. 15mm. So we've got a bolt with a stud on the end. So the bolt holds the brake vacuum pump on, and then the stud holds the bracket on after. Nice and simple. But I never really get worried about mixing up bolts, especially on stuff I've done a few times, because they're all different. They're all different lengths, and you just know. Like this back one's a 13. So it looks, you just know that when you come to pick it up, you know that where that goes. Right, that will be the brake vacuum pump off. There we go. I'm going to take the brake fluid reservoir off so I can get the coolant bottle. These, if I remember, are T25 Torxes. Well remembered, Shawnee boy. 1 and 2, and that just gets tucked out the way. We don't actually disconnect this. The pain for me on this job, which I hate, is the expansion bottle. They are a pain in the backside to get off the clips, and then to get the pipe off it at the bottom. Ugh. So, lever bar this. Right, here's the header bottle. So it sits in that way like that. 1 water pipe, 2 water pipe, 3 water pipe. Then that's the clip at the back that literally just slots on, and then 1 on the side. That's the easy one to get to because you can just lever up the front. That's the pain in the backside that I've just fought with for 5 minutes. Right, let's give us a bit more access now to get down the back. Right, you can get tucked out of the way there. Fluid reservoir can just get tucked up there. Now we want to take the fuel lines off. So spill offs, they can come off. You just push that clip, that's it. That's the spill offs off. we've got a clip, little clip there, like a security clip, so you take that off, press in the little button and off, and say that's the fuel in, return, off. So that's our 2 fuel lines. Now these should, that's it, we'll just spin them out the way, like so. And that is looking rather stripped already. And it's given us quite a bit of room, especially with that water bottle out. You can see that clip down the back there. Right here. That's the nightmare. Plonk you back down. Remember, right, look, yeah, we go. Throttle body's off. There's the 4 bolts. So that one and that one go in from the front, and then that one and that one go in from the back. I don't know why they couldn't just put them all in from the front, it'd be a lot easier. Right, so we've now got a nice little pile of bits on the floor. I think we can get this throttle body housing off. Well, I'm hoping you don't find this boring. I am thinking of other ways that I can, I don't know, make it more fun. I mean, this used to be fun for me years ago. I used to thrive on waking up in the morning and going and resurrecting an engine that was broken. My whole aim of this is to try and bring that excitement back that I once had. And it's at the minute it's working. I'm enjoying having a go at bringing you guys some videos. Potentially getting, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Getting slated by you lot for, oh, you've done this wrong, or you should have done that. Why haven't you done this? I suppose everyone's got their own way of doing things, and you know, if something works, why change it? And you know, it's done right. You know, I very rarely get a job come back, and if they do, I always stand on my work and I'll repair it, put it right. It's only what I'd expect if I was to take my vehicle to a garage. Right, okay, I don't think I can get the top cam cover off. Don't think there's much more up here that I can take off just yet, because I'm going to need to be underneath. Oh, and she's got a lovely under tray on her as well. Right, so I'm gonna get her jacked up now, get the wheel off, get the wheel arch liner out, and then we're going to attack the side of the engine, time it up. Yeah, we'll time it up and then get the top end off. Right, wheel off, 421s, 521s rather. Wheel arch liner comprises of a load of Torxes T30s, a couple of 8mm, a couple of clips. So let's get the tools for that. Right, arch liner duty. 2 T30s at the back side, 2 here. This is where it makes a mess on the floor. Get out. Right there. I'm going to take the under tray off next. Again, I need to be careful how I take the shots of this video, because I don't want to get the other van in there yet. It's a bit of a surprise. Under tray off. I'm running over my jacket. Lovely. Right, we're going to drain the coolant out of this and then jack the engine up. So, like a Transit Custom, I like to drain it from this bottom pipe. See if I can make a mess. Down my sleeve. Down my sleeve, nice. Come on. And that will do. Just nicely. That got me, that did. There we go. Right, now, let's jack the engine up. Right, engine supported. Right, we're going to tackle the engine mount now. So we've got 3 19mm nuts on studs and then 2 15s down the bottom of here. Well, that's that unbolted. Try and get this out of here. There we go. One engine mount. Next off, we're going to remove the mount from the side of the engine block, which consists of 4 16mm bolts. Then we've got this bracket here, which holds the cable with the loom, which I've took off three clips. We can leave that bolted to the mount, or you can take it off for a bit more accessibility. Then we've got 3 7mm, 1, 2, and 1 down the back here to remove the top cover. And then we can remove the crank pulley and take the bottom belt cover off. And then we're into the belt and we can time her up. Right, now we've got the upper mount and the upper cover off. We can focus some attention to the bottom side. So we've got an 18mm on the crank pulley. We've got 15mm on the tensioner and a pin to lock the tensioner off, and then 2 10mm holding the tensioner onto the block. So I'll undo the tensioner to take it out of the way. Then we've also got an 8mm holding the crank sensor on, which is here. So we'll take that off once the pulley's off. Then we've got about 4 7mm and some cable clips holding the bottom cover on, and then we can take that off. Then we will wind the 18mm back in by hand, and then we'll use a spanner on it to turn the engine over and time it up, and I'll show you the timing marks on that, because they are quite simple on this, so it's nice. And that's the pin in. Now I can drop the belt off. Literally only drives the alternator on this vehicle. And we will go for crank pulley. It wasn't very tight. No special tools needed for these just literally There we go. And we want an 8mm for the crank sensor. Then we've got, pull that out of the way. And the water pumps on these are lovely to change because it's a whole unit up the back of here. So we've got 7mm, 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 and there's another one at the back of the tensioner. So I will drop the tensioner off next and undo all these 7mm. Right, here's some of the bits. So we've got upper and lower cam belt cover, tensioner belt, and the 2 sections of the mount. Now we're in. So I'm going to wind the crank pulley bolt back in, and then I shall time it up. There's a hole here. See, they're all elongated holes. There's one 5mm, 5 or 6mm drill bit, I can't remember. It's timed up at 12 o'clock with a hole. Then there's a 10mm hole on the camshaft, which you can perfectly see. It's not far off, look. There. And then we've got fuel pump, which is timed through a hole. Just where my finger is, you can just see that. And then obviously the other pulley is water pump, which does not matter. Right, so I've wound the bolt in. Now I'm just going to turn it over by hand until you can just see the hole through the top of that elongated slot, look. About there. And I've got the wrong size drill bit. Be back in a minute. And I'm back with the correct drill bit. That's it. Drill bit in the slot. Now I've got my top one, which is just a cut down bolt, which perfect, lined up. Fuel pump. There, you see the cutout in the side is on its mark. I don't bother pegging them, that'll be absolutely fine. Fuel pump's not timed anyway, so it doesn't even actually matter if a cam belt snaps on one of these and it puts it out of time. You can literally just time up the crank and the cam. I've done loads where I've just literally just left it where it was and it's been fine. So now I'm going to undo the tensioner, which is a 13mm nut, which is that one right there, and then we can drop the belt off. And apologies here, I've got the van jacked up now and the tripod I'm using for my camera doesn't go high enough, so I'm going to order myself one of them clip-on mounts so I can actually position my camera anywhere I like. So as my videos progress, they will get better, I do promise that. Right, cam belt, tensioner and idler is off. I mean, this has done 50,000 miles and you can see the cracking already starting to happen. So I could have done with a belt on it anyway, really. So next, we've got a 16mm on the cam pulley. That's got to come off to enable us to get this plastic guard off, to enable us to then get further into getting the cams out. A fuel rail, which I've got to contend with. It's hard piped from the rail to the pump, and they're a bit of a pig to get off. So get that off, and then we're cams out. We're pretty much there. We've now removed the cam sensor the shielding behind the pulley, and this little cover here, which is down by the water pump. So as you can see, access is a lot greater now. Also, many of you would have noticed that there seems to be a bit of an oil leak, which is coming from, quite clearly, because it's running down the front of the block. It's quite clearly coming from that cam join, so looks like we'll address that one while we're into there, and we'll be putting some new seals on the top of there as well for the breather system. Right, fuel rail is off. I've done this a slightly different way, and I've managed to get it off as a complete unit. So you've literally got two 10mm holding it down onto the rocker box. Then you've got a 10mm on the back of here, 8mm there, two 8mm on them pipes, the main 19 on the fuel pump, a couple of plugs, and it literally wiggled off in one. Now, last time I did one of these, I literally took everything apart, and I really struggled with it. And then when I had it apart, I was like, hang on a minute, I could take this apart a different way. And then when I've come to do this, I completely forgot until I got into it, and I was like, okay. So we are in to the heart. Because I'm holding my camera at the moment, I've already levered this off. So down the edge, I'll show you with my bar, there's a little lip just under there. You see how my bar's going in? And I just literally levered off. Oop. Right. Let's lift the mystery box off. Oh, there's a chain. She's got a broken chain. Ooh. Yeah, look how wet all this is here. That's been leaking. Just like a Transit Custom 2-litre Eco Boom. But on these, you can actually unbolt the two halves and take the cams out. But they are a right faff to get apart. And we got rockers all over the place. Right, I need to pull this all out, assess it all. Right, so trusty ruler across the valves here. All the inlets are fine, and the exhausts. Oh, if I can focus in on this, these two valves here are down by about 2mm. So that means this cylinder head is going to require removal. Now, I've already started this. So thermostat housing, 4 8mm. We've got 4 11mm, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom of the flange for the turbo. Took all the heat shielding off the turbo. Alternator, I've dropped that forward. I've got all the head bolts are out. I have got one head bolt that has sheared its top off. That's quite common on these. So I'm going to have to start drilling that out in a minute. But I'm not too far off having the cylinder head off, and then I will send it for a reconditioning. Succession. Well, I've created a bit of a mess. Now I'm trying not to get a shot of the vehicle that's in the corner of the workshop, but we have a cylinder head removed. Fairly straightforward, a few bits of pain in the arse, bits at the back. So I've managed to remove it with the manifold on it, part of the intake still on it, and the diesel pump on it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to strip this cylinder head bare. So fuel pump off, intake off, glow plugs out, manifold off, temp sensor out, lifting bracket. That was me knocking the camera, ever so sorry. And then I'm going to take it to the reconditioners. But it was these two valves here that were in question. And if I can flip this over, we can see these two valves are bent. What a shame. Piston looks fine. So, right, let's get this stripped and in the cart and over to the reconditioners. One cylinder head stripped, and there's all our pieces. We are now literally halfway through the job. So I'm going to load up this cylinder head along with an engine block for another job and get these over to the machine shop. And this is where we left her. So first port of call is to clean up the block face. So what I'll do with that is we'll use a fresh blade to scrape off any excess material. And then I'll use some fine sandpaper with some WD-40 as a bit of a lubricant to clean it up. Before I do that, I will run through some of the bits that I've got for this. So we have brand new, genuine Ford camshaft cassette unit with an uprated 8mm chain. We've got a head gasket and a set of head bolts. The machine shop that I had the head work done at has supplied them. When you have a cylinder head skimmed, it removes material. You can see how it's nice and clean. So it removes material and in effect makes the cylinder head thinner. So we put a thicker head gasket on, which will then bring it back to where it would have originally been. We've got all the appropriate seals, oil filter, cam belt kit, all the bolts, that'll have the idler in it and the tensioner. And here is the lovely water pump unit. So normally the water pump would just be like the silver bit that just bolts to the side of the engine block. But on this, it comes as a whole housing. And if I go back to, there it is, right there. So once I've cleaned up the block face, I think I will change, not think I will change the water pump next, because they are a bit of a faff, because there's a seal down the back that slots in, and they are quite tight to get out. Right, so we use the blade, just take off any loose. Always try and work to the edge, just so none of the crap goes down inside. Nice and gentle. We don't want to put any gouges or deep scratches in this face. Next, bit of WD-40. And then we'll literally give the block face a nice clean off. Right, that's all cleaned down. Now I'm going to get the air line and I'm going to blow out all the head bolt threads, just in case any water or oil has managed to get down the threads. Now, if that happens and you wind the bolt down, the bolt will hydraulic in the bottom of the thread and it will feel tight, and it won't be tight. You could either crack the side out of the block or snap the cylinder head bolt, or you'll have an head gasket fail early because the head bolt feels like it's torqued down, but it's actually not. And you can usually tell if there's anything in there when you're winding it down, because if you wind it till it's tight, then leave it a few seconds and go again, it will wind down some more because the oil's passing back up the thread. Right, now I'm going to tackle water pump. No, I'm going to build the cylinder head next. So the head, there's the inlet valves. So that's inlet side, here's exhaust side, 8 exhaust valves. All 8 exhaust valves were actually bent on this. So it's had a fully reconditioned cylinder head. All the inlet valves have been taken out, cleaned up and relapped. And they give me a quick turnaround on this. So first off, we will sit on manifold gasket, exhaust manifold itself. Now you can't get it the wrong way around because of the stud pattern, it physically won't go on wrong. Then we've got these little spacers. There's 8 of them, 4 either side, and then the middle ones are just two nuts. All 13 mils. Nice and easy. I'm actually enjoying this because it's going well. I was a bit gutted when I seen some bent valves out because I was hoping to have it back to the customer the same day. So now we want a 13 mil, which I got right here. Always start, when I'm doing up a manifold, and any kind of manifold or anything, in fact, I always start from the middle and work outwards. That way, depending what you're bolting down, if you started from the outside, technically, it wouldn't happen with the exhaust manifold as such because it's thick and it's heavy and it probably, well, it could potentially warp. Not warp from you doing it up wrong, but if you did up something from the end, say, and you pinched something down and it lifted it up in the middle, and then you go to bolt it down in the middle and it could leak, if that makes sense. So I'll just give them a nip by hand. Again, I don't torque these down because you just know how tight they should be. Right, so that's that. You can shut that little flap there. Little retaining nut. That's that. While we're here, we can put in the temperature sensor. That is a 15 mil and it just wants a nip. Literally, that's it, that's fine. Next, we will go for glow plugs. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I am going to use, not that one, my nut gun, just to whiz them down into place, and then I will tighten them by hand. With my little quarter drive, because these are fragile, and that's literally all they need, just a nice nip. Don't need to do them rock tight because they will break. Next, we will clean the face where the thermostat housing sits. So blade, yeah, I'm prepped now, look, got my blade. I can pick it up, there we go. Trusty red scotch. Jobs like this, red scotch is your best friend. Look at that. Like brand new, man. Oh, that is absolutely lovely. And we'll just give it a quick. Right, that's that cleaned up. Now we want to fit the lifting eye, which, come on Shawnee boy, there we go, like that, that's it. 2 10mm. Right, what we got left? Not a lot. We'll go with the intake. The little intake. Now that's sat. There. Like that. What we've got left, fuel pump, and that's it. And I took a dowel out or something, if I remember. And another key to jobs like this, if you've got a vehicle in, or you're playing with a vehicle you've never worked on and you've got it stripped in pieces, ideally don't leave it too long till you put the thing back together, because it does happen and you will forget where stuff goes. Like, there we go, like that. And that is 3 13s. Fuel pumpings. And it just had a wee all over me. Where's me rag? Ragga dagga. Dowel. Where was that dowel from, Shawnee boy? That dowel is going to be out of there. For the cam frame, we'll just tap that home like that. And we've got what we got. So 10mm. If I can get it in. Right, 10mm. Another 10mm, and there's an 8mm here for something. There it is. 8, and we'll give them a nip. Nip. 8, and then we'll by the pulley, we are done. So we've got a keyway and a wood rough on the pump, so you can't get it wrong. It only literally goes on one way. Yep, and it's on a taper. And then we've got a 27mm, which I will do with my nut gun. And there's a little bracket there with 2 T30s in. And that is a cylinder head built, ready to go on. Before I put it on though, I will stand it up on its end and I will blow the airline through all the galleries, because sometimes you do get a tiny little bit of aluminium swarf left from the head skim. Right, I'm going to tackle the water pump next. Now, it looks, there's lots of nuts and bolts there, so it's like, oh, what do you actually undo? So if we look at the replacement, we can see there's not actually that many that hold the actual water pump to the engine. So we've got one there, one there, one here, and 2 down the bottom. So we can use that as a reference. Well, I say at the bottom, at the top, because it's actually that way around. So I will attack that. Might be a bit awkward to actually video this bit, but I'll whip that off and I will be back in a minute. And it's off. Right, I did accidentally lie. There is only 5 bolts that hold it on. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That one is not a securing bolt. Then we've got a pipe on here with a little flick clip on it. Then we've got pipe, they're the pain in the backside because you have to try and prise it off. But because I got the cylinder head off, it gave me good access to lever from the top there. So that got her straight off. And then that's the pipe that goes to the reservoir bottle. So what I'll do is I'll put that onto the new water pump along with that stud there, which holds the main water pipe on this bracket here. Not too bad a job to do, but with the cylinder head on, they are very fiddly. So I will get the bits swapped over on this and get the pump back in. Right, so we get new bolts and they actually give us an O-ring. And I don't know why they give us an O-ring, because the O-ring's already fitted to the pump now. So you'll end up with a spare O-ring. I mean, they're about £8 to buy anyway from Ford. So let's get this pump back in the hole. So I'll feed this in through the top because I've got access to do it. That pipe that goes to the header bottle needs pulling round here, like so, and that's got a clip. Push the top pipe in, click. That's the water pipe with the spring clip. Right, that is now in position. I'm using my lovely new bolts. And bolt it up. Time for the cylinder head to be married back to its engine block. So here's my head gasket. So this head gasket and most head gaskets, let me just sit this in position. So we've got a dowel here and a dowel here. So it's pretty impossible to get the thing the wrong way around. He says, right, yep, so it's that way like that. Head gasket on. Now most head gaskets will come with some guidance. So on this one, it gives you the sequence in which the head bolts have to be tightened, and it gives you the tightening specs. So it's got a little star next to 20, and the star means use new cylinder head bolts, which we have. So 20 Newton meters all the way around, then we want 40 Newton meters all the way around, then we've got 130 degrees and then another 130 degrees. So I will get my torque wrench out and the appropriate e-torques, and let's get the cylinder head back on. Right, let's see how we get on lifting this thing back into position. He's close. Close. There we go. She's on the dowels. So cylinder head in position. Now I'm going to lift the turbo back onto its flange. Move this boost pipe out of the way. Don't throw anybody, get it out. There we go. Right, that's turbo back in position. Next, head bolts. So I like to just give the head bolts a light spray of WD-40 on the thread and just underneath. You can probably see it's a little bit wet. I like to put them in dry. Give them a bit of lube. No binding. But I don't flood them, just a nice light spray. This is the fun bit now, when you start to see the mass pile of parts reduce. So 1, 2, 3. Right, now we're going to torque these down 20 Newton meters, which I've already preset my torque wrench. Torque to me. Click. Click. My customer will be able to have this back today, because I know this is going to work a treat. Right, now they're all done, I'm going to re-go over them at the 20. So look, I'm tightening up. They want a bit more. And then I guarantee after this next round, I'll go back to the middle and they won't tighten anymore. Right, back to number 1, and it should just click. Yep. Right, now, stage 2 is 40 Newton meters, so add 10, 20, and we go again now. I do always talk to myself when I do these. 9, so I know where I am. 10. And there's nothing worse than being in the middle of talking down ahead and someone walking in and interrupting you. 1. I like to double check. 2. 3. We're all right here. I won't need to check the ends. They're going to be fine. Right, and that is the torque wrench done with. So, loosen the torque wrench back to 0, because we don't want to leave tension on the spring. Never leave a torque wrench set, because you will ruin it. Now, we've got to do a degrees, which is 130. Now this little gadget is brilliant. So it's got a magnet on the end, so it will stick to anything steel. And then we will put our E-torques on the bottom, sit it on bolt number 1, engine bracket, and then we set to 0 and literally do it up until we hit 130. So we're on 0, there's 130. And the good thing about doing it this way is I can use a ratchet. So you can't just do one sweep. And these are tight, which is why the heads like to break off these bolts. So this is probably going to take me a little while, so I will speed through this bit. And that is a cylinder head torque down to specification. So next I'm going to 411 mils, bolt the turbo back on. So I left the oil feed and the drain and the downpipe on, so the turbo stayed in the van. That saved us a lot of faffing around. I've got a new seal to go on the thermostat housing, 4 8 mils. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 bolts on the EGR system. Then I can fold the alternator back up, put the 13 mil back in, do them up, put the bolt back in the mount here, which I didn't need to, yes, I did need to take that out. And then we can put some cams and rockers in. I didn't have the rockers in the video of my parts because they were on order from Ford and they have now arrived. Right, we're at the point now where the rocker arms and cams can now go back on. So I've got my new seals to go on the injectors here. So I'll get them fitted in a minute. So the turbo's on, the thermostat housing's on, EGR system's on. There's a bolt right round the back which you get from underneath, which is a 13mm, which holds part of the EGR cooler on. And then there's two 13mm either side of the DPF at the bottom, which you get from underneath, which I will do in a minute. And we are literally, we're not far off. Another couple of hours and I'll be turning the key on this. But can we guess how many cranks is it going to take to start? Usually I like 3 cranks, third time's a charm, but sometimes we do have issues where the starter motors like to time out on these Fords, and then we've got to bloody well wait half an hour before we can go again. So that actually kind of forces me to have a half an hour lunch break then. Next stop, camshafts. So bit of blue roll, bit of brake cleaner, and we'll just literally, there's no gasket on this, it's a sealant jobby. So we want to clean off the oil. Because we don't want oil on this face, because it will react with the sealant and it won't go off. And this is not a place we want an oil leak to come from. Quick blow off. And some sealant. Right, we don't want to put loads, literally a tiny smear. Them green O-ring seals that I've put in the cylinder head, they're on this face here. So we don't need to put any on them but we do need to put some on these ones, which is the injector clamp holes. And the securing holes. So that one's injector clamp, and this little one is one of the 8mm that holds the cam box down. So a nice little smear on there. Right, we are ready. Always stick a bit out the end, and then when it goes off, you've got something to pull on to get it out. Right, brake cleaner on a rag. And we'll just give this face, knock the rocker off. You're off your rocker, you are. You're off your rocker. Right, that's a mating face clean. Oh, these are a pain in the backside. One little knock. So when you're putting the cam box on, you got to be very careful. Get it on nice and square, straight down and on. Because if you hear a little jingle as soon as you put it on, you got to take it back off to have a look at least. Right, just make sure they're all square. They will sit. You'll feel the sweet spot where they actually sit flat. Right there, like that. I have got a dowel missing here. That's going to be near the cam box, so I'm going to go and whip that off now. Missing dowel inserted. Right, you can see the little keyway here. That keyway wants to line up with the hole, which is the timing peg. So that means she's roughly in time. Let's have a quick look at the rockers. And on we are. Now, these are the bolts. I'll get this whizzed down. That is the cam box now in place. I'm going to go and put the shielding on here. This one here. Cam pulley on timing pin. I have put some Loctite on the cam pulley bolt. Now I am going to brake vacuum pump the wiring for the glow plugs. That's nice and simple. Right, that's that. I can now put the little plastic elbow, intake elbow and fuel rail back in. Top end, I might as well finish the top end and then I can just treat it as if I'm putting back together a cam belt job. So yeah, an hour, and I should be turning the key. Well, I've got to drain the oil filter where I can get to it nice and easy. Right, we're now on injectors. Injectors are cleaned up, they're back in. I've blown them all off. Like that. Now we want to be putting the clamps on. So there's our clamp. Forks in at the side, like so. Me pipes. This is going together like a dream, like a dream. The top end is pretty much done. And then I could lower it. Yeah, no, I'll leave her up in the air. No, I'll have to leave her up in the air because I need to put the cam belt on. And I cannot do that with it on as a floor. Right, but it's currently a Friday afternoon. The weather's hot, I'm cooking. And I want to try and have this done. It's four. I didn't put my clock right, it's gone an hour. It's 10 to 4, 10 to 4. Right, I need my e-torques to do these up with. Which I have. Ooh, can anyone spot what I've done right there? I have been a silly Billy. Thought I was playing with a Euro 6 Transit Custom, didn't I, Shawnee boy? I faced them the wrong way. Alright, and what we'll do with these is we will just literally send the bolts and then back it off. Just so they're all loose. And then we'll put the fuel lines on, give them a nip. By hand, just nip them so they're in position. So, like so. Just so we know that the taper is sat in the cup. so to speak. Otherwise you start ending up bending fuel lines and getting leaks, and we don't want to be digging back into this after we've put it together. No, thank you. And there's me thinking these fuel lines are going to be like the Krypton factor, but in fact, they've just gone straight in. Absolutely lovely. So now we give these a nice tighten. Like so. And the torque setting for them is Skinner tight. Right, okay, so I've fitted my new seals into the breather. You can sit the breather on now. And breather is on. Right, get these whizzed down. These are all 8 mils, and then 113, which has got the stud that holds the engine cover on top. And who has spotted what I have just done? Someone is rushing. Back off it comes. At least I realised the error of my ways now. And that is, didn't tighten up with bloody fuel line, did I? Right, nip, 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 tighten, 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 get in there, tighten, and then tighten. That is perfection. Well, for me it is anyway. So, let's try this again. Nippy, 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 nippy. And then the back ones by hand. Spill offs next. And we are literally, you've got to be very gentle with these. Especially when you're putting new ones in. Bit of Vaseline or a bit of diesel around the seal, and just tickle them in, just nice and gently. You end up forcing them and you cut the rubber, and then you just end up with a leak then. Right, so we are literally there, vacuum pipe. Wicked, we're nearly there. Right, so at the minute, we're doing well. So we've got the intake part of the boost system on, injector looms on, throttle body's on. So now I'm gonna belt her up, give her a belting, I am. So I have the new idler gear on, which is this one here. Here's the new tensioner with its pin. You see the arrow, so it sits in like that. Then we want a 6mm Allen key in here, and we turn it to face the arrow. So anti-clockwise till that pointer is in the center of that notch. And it's as simple as that. This hole here sits on a dowel on a locator, and then you put your bolt through the middle, it just keeps that in position. And one nice new genuine Ford belt and all the bolts. Right, and that's a belt on. So we can now take our timing pins out, and as I did in the custom video, I trust myself, and I ain't gonna bother turning it over. I'm just gonna put it all back together. Right, so I've got the cover on, I've got the crank sensor back in, I've got all the wiring clips back in. I'm now gonna whiz out the 18, which is the original bolt that we used just to turn the engine over. There we go, keyway. And yes, I'm going to gun it up. And it will not come undone. Cam belt covers back on, mounts back on, which is 319s, 215s. I am rushing a little bit now because it's 5 o'clock and I want to be out of here at 6. What we got left now, pretty much expansion bottle, brake fluid reservoir back in, air box with the new air filter, pop the new oil filter in while I'm there. We're there. So I'm going to whiz the arch liner back in, which literally consists of a load of T30s and a few clips. And the next clip you'll see, I won't bore you with putting oil in and stuff. So the next clip you'll see is trying to start the thing. So fingers crossed it goes. And that's it, back together. And I'm going to go for a start. So, third time's a charm. We'll see. And round 2. Right, we're going for a boost pack. I would call that succession. Awesome. Another one bites the dust. New number plate fitted, oil's all checked, coolant's all good, heaters are up to 10. I'm just going to steam clean the engine bay. Now, not only does it sound like a 50,000 mile engine, it looks like one. Absolutely brilliant. I love it. I just love it when something goes to plan. I mean, I was hoping it didn't have bent valves in it because it's took me a lot longer than I expected, and I did need to get on with other stuff, but other stuff will have to wait. I'm just fortunate that my customers are, you know, they're understanding. They're very, very understanding, so I'm very lucky to have the customer base that I've got. And that is me done, absolutely done for another week. Although I have got a nice low loader job on tomorrow. I've got to go and pick up a lovely traction engine. So that'll be a nice day out, but there's never rest. There's never rest. You have a day off from work to do other work, so, you know, it is what it is. So if you've enjoyed this video, saved another one, give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a thumbs up, please. Share the channel about, and I will continue to throw some more videos out as often as I can.